Hi, welcome to Hindustan Times Poll Bazi. You are with me, Aditi Prasad, and it's raining freebies for the Janta of Uttar Pradesh with both the BJP and the Samajwadi Party releasing their manifestos back to back just a short while ago. And with barely 48 hours before the first phase of polling or voting takes place in the state in Western UP. Now, today on this show, we are looking at the manifesto wars in Uttar Pradesh. It's BJP's Sankalp Patra versus Samajwadi Party's Vachan Patra, which my colleague Sunita Aaron, who will join us shortly on this show, she had a very interesting take on. So we will get to hear her views on that. But before I bring in my guest today, let's take a quick look at the top 10 promises in both manifestos. Let's bring up the BJP manifesto first on screen. Okay, free electricity for irrigation for farmers, two free LPG cylinders, and notably on Holi and Diwali, free public transport travel for women over 60. There's free two-wheelers for female college students, a lot of freebies you see there. Jobs, self-employment, opportunity to at least one member of each family. 10 years jail time, 1 lakh fine for those found guilty of love jihad. That's the love jihad angle. Increase in pension for widows. 5,000 crore to be spent on modernization of sugarcane mills, payment of sugarcane dues, clearly with an eye on appeasing the agitated farmers in Western UP, and financial assistance of up to 1 lakh rupees for marriage of girls from poor families. These are like the top 10 takeaways that we could quickly take out so far. But now let's look at the Samajwadi Party manifesto, which was released barely a couple of hours later. Free power for irrigation to farmers, interest free loans and pensions. All poor farmers will be made debt free by 2025. Big promise, MSP for all crops. Sugarcane farmers, again, yes, to appease them, will be paid their dues. 25 lakhs for families of farmers who died during the farm protests. LPG cylinders free, again, to 1 liter free petrol for all two-wheeler owners, free petrol for auto rickshaw drivers or CNG, 33% reservation for women in government jobs, including police. Urban Employment Guarantee Act on the line of FG and NREGS. Samajwadi Canteen, Kirana stores for essentials on subsidized rates for all the poor and needy in the state. Now, let me invite my guests for the show. I have expert pollster Yashwant Deshmukh, founder, CEO of Sea Water. He's been with us always. And thanks for joining us, Yashwant. We'd like to hear your views on the manifesto wars that are playing out right now today in Uttar Pradesh. Barely 2 days to go before voting. Our Hindustan Times colleague in Lucknow, Sunita Aaron, she's senior resident editor with HTA. She's tracking these elections very closely, and we have Dr. Anil Yadav from the BJP joining us. Now, Dr. Yadav, आपसे शुरू करते हैं क्योंकि आप
Yes, ma'am.
interested stakeholder हैं. One of your party has released their manifesto today. Amit Shah, Yogi Adityanath released it from the same place where they released the 2017 manifesto. और काफी चीजें हैं, but freebies का दौर farmers के लिए, poor के लिए, and the punishment for love jihad, uh, tying up with the BJP's Hindutva narrative so far. क्या लगता है इस मैनिफेस्टो से इलेक्शन जीतेंगे?
जी, ज़रूर जीतेंगे और हमें पूरा विश्वास है और हमारे देश की और हमारे हमारे सबसे पहले तो मेरे क्षेत्र की जनता को ना इस मैनिफेस्टो के बाद आई थिंक पूरा विश्वास और इसमें सबको ये लगता है कि ये मैनिफेस्टो बहुत ही अच्छा है, बल्कि पिछली बार से हमने काफ़ी कुछ इम्प्रूव करके इस बार का मैनिफेस्टो लाया हुआ है और इसमें हमें पूरी जनता से इस मैनिफेस्टो को पढ़ने के बाद इवन इसको समझने के बाद सबसे हमें सहयोग मिलने की पूरी उम्मीद है और हम बड़े आशान्वित हैं इसके आने के बाद।
आशान्वित है ये फ्रीबीज का ये हर चीज फ्री देने का ये तो आम आदमी पार्टी के ये फ्री पावर प्रॉमिस किया था अखिलेश यादव ने फार्मर्स को। फ्री स्कूटीज जो दे रहे वो प्रियंका गांधी ने अपने कांग्रेस की मैनिफेस्टो में डाला था। ये जो दूसरों के नैरेटिव से या दूसरों के मैनिफेस्टो से चीजें अडेप्ट करी हैं बीजेपी ने अपने मैनिफेस्टो में, इससे क्या लग रहा है कि पोल आउटकम की वजह को लेकर थोड़ा सा एप्रिहेंसिव है? स्पेशली फर्स्ट फेज में वेस्टर्न यूपी में, जहाँ पे थोड़ी सी समस्या दिखाई दे रही है बीजेपी के लिए?
अ, जी मैम, समस्या तो खैर कहीं नहीं दिखाई दे रही है, वो अपना-अपना परसेप्शन है लोगों का। लेकिन इतना ज़रूर है कि जहाँ तक फ्री देने की बात है, तो जो स्कूटी दी जा रही है महिलाओं के और ख़ासकर बच्चियों के लिए, जो एजुकेशंस में जो आई मीन मेधावी छात्राएँ हैं, उनके लिए ये प्रदान करने की बात करी गई है और हमारे समझ से ये बहुत अच्छा इनिशिएटिव्स है पार्टी की तरफ से और ये होना चाहिए। और ये क्योंकि हम यहाँ पे देखते हैं, जो अपने क्षेत्र की मैं बात करूँ, जो मधुबन विधानसभा क्षेत्र है, यहाँ पे जो बच्चियाँ हैं, जो खासकर बहुत मेधावी हैं लेकिन गरीब परिवार से हैं, उनको इसकी आवश्यकता है और सबसे बड़ी बात कि वो इसको अफ़ोर्ड नहीं कर सकते। उनके पास इतने पैसे नहीं हैं कि वो स्कूटी से अपने दूर-दराज जो स्कूल्स हैं या कॉलेजेज़ हैं, वो जा सकें। तो उनके लिए ये जो इनिशिएटिव्स लिया गया है, ये बहुत ही अच्छा है और आज के डेट में ये चीज़ देना हमारे समझ से कहीं फ्री
खैर,
का
लेकिन
जो रिप्रिकेशंस वाली बात है।
अखिलेश यादव का कहना है, उन्होंने ट्वीट डाला, जिनके वादे जुमले हैं, बातें झूठी हैं, जो हर बार जनता को झांसा देते हैं, वो घोषणा पत्र निकालने या संकल्प पत्र, वचन पत्र या शपथ पत्र, उत्तर प्रदेश की जनता अब विश्वास नहीं करेगी। उन्होंने लखीमपुर, हथरस, गोरखपुर, इन सब इंसिडेंट्स का वास्ता देकर ये बात कही है।
नहीं,
उनके
जनता तो पूरी तरह से आश्वासित है और इस भाजपा की तरफ देख रही है, वो बड़े अच्छे मूड से देख रही है। ये सब बातें तो अपोजिशन का है, वो कहेंगे, उनको तो कहना ही है। लेकिन जो सच्चाई है वो धरातल पे यहाँ पे आके देखने के बाद पता लग रहा है कि जो योगी के लिए लोग देख रहे हैं कि हाँ, उनकी तरफ कि नहीं, ये जो कुछ भी होगा यहाँ पे सुशासन होगा, अच्छी व्यवस्थाएँ हैं, ये सारे जो है इनकी तरफ से आ जाएगा। तो वो लोग आशान्वित थे, काफ़ी आशान्वित है, यहाँ की जनता पूरी तरह से मूड बना रखी है कि नहीं, हमें बीजेपी की तरफ ही जाना है, क्योंकि यहीं से जो कुछ
अगर
भी होगा
अगर
हमें ये
अगर आशान्वित थे, तो फिर मतलब आपने आपके सबसे बड़े लीडर अमित शाह ने न्योता क्यों दिया जयंत चौधरी को आने के लिए?
जयंत चौधरी जी,
क्लियरली। हाँ।
जी, जयंत चौधरी जी अ, अभी जो भी उनकी आई मीन जो समस्या या जो कुछ भी उनको लग रहा है, वो एक टेम्परेरी है, वो आगे आएँगे, वो पूरी तरह से वो भी इस बात को देख रहे हैं। अ, बाकी आगे होगा, जो होगा अच्छा ही होगा।
अच्छा, टेम्पररी समस्या है। यशवंत, लेट मी ब्रिंग यू इन। ये तो कह रहे हैं जयंत चौधरी टेम्पररी समस्या
यस,
है, बाद
ये
में
सारी
वो
चीज़
जरूर बीजेपी
जी।
में ही आ जाएंगे। दैट्स
जी,
व्हाट ही
पूरी
सेइंग,
तरह
बट
से।
लेट मी ब्रिंग इन यशवंत। यशवंत, BJP manifesto promises quite a bit. SP promises quite a bit for farmers, a lot of freebies for poor. How does this manifesto tie up with their narratives so far? Their political narrative so far in this election?
Well, that's a difficult one to answer. Actually, before the show started, me and Sunita, you were actually chatting on this. Yeah, we can analyze that certain such manifesto is good, this is better, or that. But do actually people vote looking at the manifestos? That's even a million-dollar question. So
Million dollar question.
I mean, our combined. I guess that Sweeta, you would agree with me that I don't think that people are going to look at the manifesto and vote largely. What happens is that people generally vote if something good is delivered to them, and if there is a fear of that being taken away, or if there is a top-up thing that is coming there. For example, I don't think people in Delhi voted for Arvind Kejriwal because he promised free something. But
Hmm.
the second term was definitely keeping in mind that if Arvind Kejriwal doesn't come back and BJP comes in power, that free electricity, free water will be taken away. So that's why I feel that it's more on the delivery that people vote. So what if looking at the manifesto, I mean, obviously it seems like Samajwadi Party has done a great job in promising very unique and very new things. Somehow, I still feel that his 5 years tenure between 7 and 2007 and 2012, uh, did highlight many of the infrastructure projects. You know, he should have taken credit for them. I'm talking about Akhilesh Yadav.
Yeah.
And he tried big time to take his party's image away from the Gunda element thing. He should have focused on that. Similarly, in the case of the BJP, there are lot many things, obviously nice things that are being said, but I genuinely believe that against going against all the anti-incumbency sentiment, the anger against the functioning of the sitting chief minister or whatever, I think the thing this is working in favor of the BJP is right now the policies, social welfare policies of Prime Minister Modi. What the thing has been delivered, I think they should have taken it to that next level in that way, keeping the focus on what we have delivered. So I guess this is where they should have played on their strengths, and if they have played on their strengths and taking it to a bit further on that base, I think that will work. But if it is only about हम आएंगे तो हम ये करेंगे, तो वो I don't think that is going to cut much of the break much of the ice over there, because people are more worried about कि ये क्या ले जाएंगे rather than कि ये क्या देंगे.
Sunita, let me bring you in. Let's talk about this whole ये जो एक दो घंटे के बीच में इन्होंने मैनिफेस्टो रिलीज किया. He talked about Amit Shah talked about a संकल्प पत्र. अखिलेश यादव talked about a वचन पत्र. ये संकल्प पत्र और वचन पत्र में क्या डिफरेंस हुआ? Because that is what he tried to play on Akhilesh, क्योंकि अखिलेश ने बाद में रिलीज किया.
This is what is happening in politics today when we play on words more than what we do. So performance rather. So they said Sankalp Patra is, they said commitment to the voters that we are going to do all this in the next 5 years. What Akhilesh Yadav is saying is Samajwadi Vachan Patra, Satya Vachan Patra, matlab this is my honest promise to you that if I come to power, then in 5 years I'm going to do. There's not much difference. And if you look at their manifestos also, the focus is very clear. Freebies, farmers, women. That's
Right.
there. Yes, there are certain new things that Samajwadi Party has mentioned, like 33% quota for women in government jobs,
Right.
including police. That is something new. Then 25 lakhs compensation to farmers who died during the agitation.
Yeah, let's
BJP
bring
has
up those
mentioned.
graphics. I'm
Yeah.
just telling the team.
And
Yeah.
there are a lot of things. He's talking about Samajwadi canteen, whereas they're also, BJP is also offering something like that only. Now, this 300 rupees free power, that is something, today only we were discussing, and we realized that this year, there is a scheme of one-time settlement where farmers, if they make their payment, they clear their dues, they get interest waived off. And this outstanding amount is about 27,000 crores. And this time the farmers came forward and cleared only 2,000 crores because they're very hopeful that whichever government is going to come is going to waive off their old dues and all that. So there are a lot of promises. While Samajwadi Party has tried to be progressive and all that, BJP is also progressive, but at the same time political also, because they mentioned about some cultural centers for Dalit icons, for backward icons. This is something, these are the constituencies they are trying to penetrate. So it's
Right.
very clear that both of them are trying to. But my only question is, manifestos coming after the political discourse has already been settled 2 days before the elections,
The
how
voting,
much
right.
does it matter? We already have a political narrative going on right now, at least for the first two phases. And now we come with the manifestos. By the time it will reach people, yes, there'll be some discussion. But whether it will change the mind of people, influence the voting decision, I'm a little doubtful about it.
Right. Should Yashwant, in your assessment, when you speak to the people, when your team goes out and interacts with people, gets their reactions, how much does a manifesto really count, and what the manifesto promises? I mean, I don't remember, for instance, the manifesto promises that BJP made in 2017, and Sunita, if you remember any of them, or Yashwant, please do bring them out. Have they been delivered? Or SP, the promises they made in their manifesto in the term before that. whether those were delivered, and who keeps account of these in any case? Aren't manifestos, are
Nobody
they
does.
declared
That's the
standard?
point. That's the point. Nobody does actually. And rather than giving the long and short of the huge manifestos and everything, basically, I genuinely believe that parties should be giving 10 pointers. That, okay, these are the 10 pointers that we will finish in the year one, 10 pointers for the year two, even, but like that and so on. So that there is some kind of accountability. Having said that, what people remember is that the latest in the round at what has been done in the last few years, number one. Number two, they also do tend to see who is promising a top up, giving it better. So many times the burning issues, make an entry in the discussion. For example, of course, no government these days can actually provide any job. We all know for sure governments are shrinking down on the budget. Providing job is not, no matter what kind of, which kind of government is there. I mean, that's not government's thing anymore. But we know for sure, for example, you remember in Bihar, whenever tracker was showing unemployment is the biggest issue and Tejasvi Yadav picked up, all of a sudden, because of that issue, his numbers in the last 6 weeks jumped up like anything. So
Right.
people also cash in using the sentiments and emotion of what the public is worried about right now. But at the end of the day, it's the delivery which matters. So a lot many things which were promised and not delivered, if the opposition cashes in on that one, that this was not delivered, then people might make the manifesto as an issue. Or if the governing party actually delivers some of that and doesn't deliver the rest of them, then also governing party makes an issue that, we promised 10 things, see, three we have done or five we have done, and doesn't talk about the rest of the five which have not been done. So it all depends on what kind of public generally is, in India is not very demanding, Aditi. It's so
Hmm.
odd. If you look into the real winning chemistry, why people win elections, if you will pick up, say, and I can tell you by counting the names as well, pick up 50 MLA or MLAs, MPs across India who have been winning election after election, beating the anti-incumbency. You will find a one very single trait among them. They are attending 4 weddings and 8 funerals every day.
Hmm.
So people's expectation in India is simply that if the person is available for their happiness and their moment of grief, they are happy to vote for that person. Forget about any development. We have so many examples. I teach examples after examples when I teach to journalism students. Somebody like Kalpanath Rai in Gosi. On developmental prank, he delivered and he kept on winning even as an independent behind the bars when he was inside the jail. Just because he developed the constituency and he was like that. We see a person like Ram Naik winning purely because he was honest, nothing else. We see so many people winning just because they are available, nothing else, plain availability. So what I'm simply trying to say, Aditi, that the expectations bar is so low as far as the Indian public is concerned. Actually, it makes me worry as well as think doubly think over it. Do these manifestos or larger promises, do they really matter? Can we believe that right now the biggest USP of the Modi government is that in the last 2 years they provided ration and there was not a single hunger death during the pandemic time? And people actually take that ration and they show their gratitude, which in
Hmm.
any case the government should have done. I mean, you know what I'm trying to say. सरकारें कोई भी सरकार हो वो कोई डेवलपमेंट करती है तो जनता पे एहसान नहीं करती है दीदी.
उनका
उनका
काम।
उनका काम है करना. लेकिन जनता का देखो, भारत की जनता का बार इतना लो है कि वो हर एक वो एमएलए उनके पिताजी के तेरही पे आ जाता है, वो उसी पे भावुक होकर के उसके गांव के लोग उसको वोट देने के लिए तैयार हैं कि नेताजी इनके फलनवे के पिताजी की तरह ही पे आ रहे हैं.
But
तो
you're right, and to a very large extent also because अब 2 दिन बचे हैं वोटिंग के लिए फर्स्ट फेज की. उस 2 दिन में क्या फर्क पड़ेगा वोटर्स के दिमाग में? हाउ मच of this manifesto will they be able to understand, read, understand, and figure out, have a discussion with their local अपने गांव में लोगों से बात करके
नहीं लगता.
कितना वो समझ Exactly.
थोड़ी
बिल्कुल
चीजें
ठीक है।
पॉइंटर्स में आ जाती हैं,
But
थोड़ी
let
थोड़ी
me
चीजें
let me
pointers में आ
let
जाती
me
हैं।
talk about Western UP, जो जहाँ पे वोटिंग होने वाली है ना। तो टू थिंग्स, सबसे पहले वोटिंग वहाँ आ रही है। ये क्लियरली बहुत दोनों ही मैनिफेस्टोज में फार्मर्स को लेकर बहुत तगड़ा एफर्ट है फार्मर्स को वू करने के लिए, चाहे वो शुगर केन ड्यूज को लेकर हो, चाहे वो जो फार्मर एजिटेशन से जो लोग मरे हैं, जो फार्मर्स मरे हैं, उनकी फैमिलीज को कॉम्पनसेशन देने के लिए द समाजवादी पार्टी इवन ऑफर्स in their manifesto even offers a smarak for the farmers who died during the farmers agitation in the last 1 year. But the BJP manifesto simply glosses over it. The people who are affected by the farm movement doesn't even talk about the farmers who sort of, yes,
I think Sunita would be able to
Sunita
better
was
explain.
coming here, but I wanted to go to Dr. Anil Yadav on this. But
Before you go to him, I just wanted to point out few things. MSP for all crops has been an old demand of the farmers, which they have done. Samajwadi Party has promised. How they'll do it is a different thing. Second, something which I wanted to point out when you said whether these promises are kept or not kept. Areas of sugarcane growers, I think over the last so many elections, we have seen every party promise them that we are going to clear them within 15 days or within 1 month, or will be, but they remain. The areas stay, some of them are cleared, some of them are not cleared. So like BJP is saying that 98% of the promises that we had made in 2017 have been done. Whereas Akhilesh Yadav also says that, I remember that this type of the pamphlet on their promises, every minister was told to keep them on the table, and so that they remember what all they have to do. And they also claim that 98% of the promises have been made. The only thing is that people don't remember those 98% promises. So it's very difficult to compare and know. Yes, few things which matter is cylinder for women. There are certain attractive schemes which will be discussed today in villages. People will be discussing, the farmer community in Chopals will be discussing, and somewhere, some fence sitters, it might influence them. But 2 days before, where the election is going on caste and communal lines, yes, love jihad, 10 years punishment will matter. They're talking about terrorist command center will matter. When Akhilesh Yadav is talking, that is BJP promise. When Akhilesh Yadav is saying zero tolerance against hate crime, that matters. So these are few things that would. Laptops he did distribute. BJP also distribute, though a little late. Now you can ask for BJP.
Your voice is echoing. Somebody's, maybe from somewhere. Yeah, it's better now. Thank you. I've forgotten my question for Dr. Anil Yadav, but Dr. Yadav, ये बताइए कि आपको क्या लग रहा है, ये जो वेस्टर्न यूपी का क्षेत्र है, ये जो फार्मर्स के लिए फ्रीबीज दी जा रही हैं, इससे जो फार्मर्स नाराज चल रहे हैं बीजेपी से, और मैं बात कर रही हूँ जो हमारे रिपोर्टर्स कवर ग्राउंड पे हैं, देख रहे हैं, बात कर रहे हैं, नाराजगी है, शुगर केन फार्मर्स की नाराजगी है, ड्यूज नहीं मिले हैं, इससे आपको लगता है, क्योंकि वो अब मैनिफेस्टो में तो ये हो गया कि 14 दिन में ड्यूज दे दिए जाएंगे, लेकिन ये ड्यूज the government has been there for the last 5 years, ये अभी तक ड्यूज क्यों नहीं दिए गए? ये लास्ट मोमेंट पे इलेक्शन आते ही और ये नाराजगी देखते ही फिर क्यों हम प्रॉमिस कर रहे हैं?
नहीं, ऐसा है कि उनको जो भी नाराजगी तो जो है वो अपनी जगह पे वो बोल भी रहे हैं, लेकिन ऐसा कुछ भी नहीं है कि उनकी नाराजगी ये हमेशा रहने वाली है। और ये सारी चीजों का ध्यान रखते हुए सरकार ने और जो स्टेट गवर्नमेंट है, इसने सारी चीजों को बिल्कुल किसानों के हित में ही ध्यान में रखते हुए ये मैनिफेस्टो तैयार किया है, और ये इसका लाभ जरूर मिलना है, किसानों को मिलना है। और किसान अगर खुश हैं तो आई थिंक देश के हर व्यक्ति खुश है, हम भी खुश हैं, सब खुश है। तो उनके हित में रख के ये सारी बातें की गई है।
क्यों नहीं करा? पहले क्यों नहीं दिए ड्यूज से?
नहीं, पहले भी दी गई है, पहले भी दी गई है, पहले भी दी गई है, ऐसा नहीं कि नहीं दी गई है। और उसी चीज को और कंटिन्यू करते हुए और ज्यादा रिफाइन करते हुए चीजों को, क्योंकि कुछ कमियां हर जगह रहती हैं, उसको सुधार हमेशा किया जाता है और करते हुए आगे बढ़ना ही अपना काम है। और उसको करने के लिए ये चीजें कही गई हैं और एक एक करके सबको उसको आई थिंक पूरा किया जाएगा और उसके बारे में ये सारी चीजें कही गई हैं। तो इसका लाभ मिलना है, जरूर किसानों को ही मिलना है सारा लाभ।
Let me bring in Yashwant. Yashwant, Western UP. So there is talk about love jihad and punishment for love jihad. There is talk about freebies for farmers. Uh, but the agitating farmers, farmer agitation में जो लोग मरे उनके बारे में कोई जिक्र नहीं है बीजेपी के मैनिफेस्टो में. It's like that they've just turned a blind eye to that. Do you think that will make a difference?
Even
With
if they
Akhilesh
would have
promising
said
a
something
Smarak
that,
and
you see, there is a reason why they would turn a blind eye, because if they would say something, they would be kind of admitting that there was fault at their end. They don't consider that it was a fault there, and right? They said that we brought a law. You did protect. You didn't want to wish to continue with that law. We took it back. That's about it. So that's a part of the chapter BJP would like to see as an over done and dusted. Because even if they do something, they do not feel that electorally it is going to do something benefit to them. On the other hand, Samajwadi Party definitely feels that doing that much might at least all the farming community and those who were involved with the protest and everything, it might score some good points over there. Having said that, what I feel, those who were anti-government at the farm protest and everything, they would not vote for the BJP this way or that way. They would in any case vote for the opposition. So it is also basically looking into their own bases, ensuring, because there is also a kind of estimate that all the Jat voters might not vote for all the RLD and SP candidates. There is more affinity for RLD, less of the SP, and particularly in the seats where Muslim community candidates have been given by the Samajwadi Party, the Jat enthusiasm is not of the same level that they are enthusiastic about Jayant Chaudhary's candidate. So maybe they felt like reinforcing that identity of the farmers' agitation and going on that. So that is a point that has been well covered. I think that's good politics, because everybody should play to their strong points, no doubt about that. And I think SP has covered that rather well. And as far as the BJP is concerned, I think BJP's manifesto is making process itself is a much more thorough and professional job. In any case, they have mastered at it, and their campaign or manifesto or the chief minister or the MLA or the government or the uh, ministers actually doesn't matter for them. To be honest, BJP per se got 14, 17, 19 because of Modi, and it will be only and only Modi's words which will count. Whatever he says will count. Whatever he does will count. So, more than the manifesto, I would say Prime Minister's speech in Parliament yesterday is going to do more magic for the BJP rather than their manifesto. That's what my humble opinion is.
Okay, Sunita, Prime Minister Modi's speech in Parliament, dubbing Congress as part of the Tukde Tukde gang, and literally going out all guns blazing. आज वैसे Parliament में Chidambaram from the opposition side has hit back and said, "I am part of the Tukde Tukde gang. What are you talking about?" But having said that, there is the effect of Prime Minister Modi, and he is doing a number of virtual rallies. But what are your reporters on the ground telling you? Which because there is an entire BJP election machinery in play versus the do ladke. What are the reports that you're getting from the ground? How is it playing out?
You see, before I comment on that, the Prime Minister's speech yesterday, in which he blamed the other party's opposition for the migration problem and other things. If you
Right.
remember, it was in 2014 when he had first said that I'll try to solve this problem that people from UP won't have to go to Bombay to work or to Punjab to work.
Right.
But they still go and they still prefer to go. So I think the Prime Minister's speech is more of, if you are ideologically aligned with BJP, you will find everything good in that, and you will find Congress as tukre tukre gang. But if you are neutral or you are liberal,
And that
then
is
you
true
would not.
for every,
Very clear
that is
about it.
everything. That is very true for
But
everything. And
no,
the
no.
argument is
About this
also.
speech, I'll make it all the more
I think
emphasis
that was true
because
even for, that was true even for Rahul Gandhi's speech. Those who were on
yes,
that side
yes,
of the
Rahul
political
Gandhi's speech.
spectrum,
Yeah, but
they were
here
all
see,
pleases. Yeah,
look,
and
COVID,
yeah,
COVID people died. We all know that in our country, we don't have health infrastructure. And people have died. Denial doesn't help. Ask people who have lost their families.
true.
It doesn't matter to them whether Akhilesh Yadav is in power or Yogi is in power. What matters to them is that they have lost their family member. So right now they are not going to appreciate BJP saying no, no, no. We are not responsible or blaming Congress or Akhilesh Yadav. And if Akhilesh Yadav was in power, it would not have helped him either. So I'm making that point very clear that somewhere that speech when we are talking about. Now,
True.
when I look as for the ground report, yes, it's between today Mamta Banerjee was here too, and she gave that call Khela Hobe, huh? And she was very her speech was very spicy. People love to listen to her, whether they believe or they like her, whatever it is. But people do see a lady who fought BJP in West Bengal. So she is, heard. People do listen to her. So she has come forward and she said something very important, that the regional parties are going to come up together. It's a message to Congress more than the BJP, that the regional parties are going to come together to defeat BJP in 2024. I think it's a wake up call to Congress also. Third point that I would like to say is yes, the fight is narrowing down closer to the election between BJP and Alliance. It's a good close fight, and today to say that who's winning and who's not winning, but BJP's discomfort can be seen in their statement. I'll only say
Absolutely.
this much.
And that
Third,
discomfort is
the
even
last point.
manifest in the manifesto,
Yeah.
Sunita, where
And the
they
last
picked up.
point, Aditi, and the last point that I would like to say is that after a cursory look at the manifestos, I think our states and our center has lot of money, lot of funds to
Oh, yes.
distribute. Who says we are a poor state? We are not a poor state at all, because we have that type of funds to promise. Whether it's for Akhilesh, where is he going to get funds? He must have done some homework. And BJP, where they're going to do
No,
gets
no,
these
let's
funds,
not
they
let's
must have
not
done
talk
their
about
homework.
BJP.
Yeah, it's good
It's a
to know
very
that we have
nationalistic
funds.
party.
Actually,
They
it's
will
good
not
to
have a
know that
shortage
we
of
have.
funds. Right. Okay.
But
Well,
we are not a poor state. We are not a backward state. We have
I
whole
think
lot of
I
funds.
think at some point of time, we in the media also have to take that next step of not just taking the manifestos on the face value, but asking actually this question: where exactly are you going to bring fund it? Where exactly are you going to get this money from? Because a
Right.
lot many unrealistic things are promised, particularly from the people who feel that this is the it, and
And
I just
yeah,
promise
and
and
that's
you
not
get
just
it.
true for Uttar Pradesh, Yashwant. I mean, even for Punjab, it's a bankrupt
Everywhere,
state. It's a
everywhere.
bankrupt
Punjab
state. They
is
have no
actually
money. But look at
it's
the
a
software
bankrupt
that they got
state.
out there.
Oddly enough, Punjab's financial situation is in dire straits. It is such
Right.
a pathetic
Bankrupt.
condition right now. And even after promising freebies, I don't know कहाँ से लाएंगे, कैसे करेंगे. Punjab that we know used to know about 60s, 70s, 80s, and the money which still talk about in Punjab. Punjabis are rich, but Punjab is poor. Let's face it. Punjabis are rich people, but Punjab as a state is an extremely poor state at this point of time. I will
Right.
not be surprised that many of the new states or the Bimaru states that we talk about, their financial status must be much
Is
better
in a
than Punjab.
better condition than Punjab is. Absolutely. It's in, and yet there are so many freebies on offer, and which brings me back to the main point. Somebody needs to hold the parties accountable at least the winning combination that comes into power needs to hold them accountable for the manifesto promises that they make, for this democracy to sort of mature even further going forward, where we are right now. But for now, all eyes, of course, on February 10th, and then March 10th. February 10th is Western UP will be the first region to vote in the 7 phase poll in Uttar Pradesh, and of course, votes are going to be counted on March 10th. Let's see how much difference the manifestos make, as per our analysts here, experts here who are watching the situation closely on the ground. Not much difference except a few points here and there. Thank you so much for joining this broadcast,
Thank
viewers.
you.
Stay tuned in. We'll keep coming back to you with more. And of course, our politicians will continue to rain freebies till then.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.